Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of Beneath the Lift Tower. My name's Charles McGilvray. As always, I'm joined by Jess Kebble and Simon Stacey. As always, this is a fans podcast by fans for fans of Northampton Saints. How are you both doing?
Good, thank you.
I'm good, thanks, mate.
Good. Back to the winning ways at the Gardens.
Yeah. In
Much better.
Probably one of the worst weathers I've ever watched a game in.
Yeah.
So weird.
It was so bad. Like, I was wearing a t-shirt, a jumper, 2 rugby shirts, and a big coat, and I was still freezing. And I had long jumper as well, 2 pairs of socks, boots. It was freezing.
I had my Saints shirt on and a gilet because I picked the wrong coat up on the way out. So yeah, I was cold. And I had ankle socks on. Track socks, so my ankles were freezing.
I don't think I could have coped with that. It was bad. I mean, the conditions obviously massively affected the game as well.
I don't think we've played. I'm surprised because they're still a big French side. I don't think we've played a worse side for years. They just didn't look bothered.
Yeah, I agree. I think that was massively a game of battle of wills, and they just weren't there.
No.
We wanted it so much more than them.
Yeah. Even the championship sides looked better than them. I was shocked. I thought this is going to be a lot. I know, and then I saw the weather. I was like, that's going to be a game changer. But we still played the way we play and scored tries in that awful weather against the weather. Actually, when we had the wind in our favour, we weren't as good, which was weird.
Yeah, well, that's an interesting one because it was obviously the toss. They won the toss, and they elected to play with the wind up the hill. No, with the wind down the hill.
Downhill, yeah.
So it worked out exactly. Dingle said on the radio afterwards. I was listening to him on the car in the interview, and he said, "Yeah, like I lost the toss, but I got exactly what I wanted."
Yeah, it was awful. Yeah, that wind. I've never seen it. I don't know where. I'm not sure where you two sit, but I sit behind the team, so the far left in the Tetleys or Carlsberg stand now. That floodlight in the second half started to sway. That's how windy it was, and those poles are massive. Because it got really bright, and I was like, have they just turned them up or something? And it weren't. It's because it was moving.
Right.
Mental. Absolutely mental.
It's above my head, I think. That's boring.
Oh, God.
Absolutely nuts. But yeah, they play some good rugby. I'll tell you who stood out for me was I just forget his name. The Fijian lad. I can never say his name.
Timo.
I nearly said Appy. That's way in the past. We don't mention it anymore. But yeah, he looked awesome. He did. That was his best game for us, I thought.
Yeah, he was good. I think I'd seen a post as well that, like, I'm sure I saw something on Instagram that he'd been like up with a sick kid as well, like a few days before, like his kid was poorly or something like that. So I was like, to put that kind of performance in when you probably hadn't had much sleep.
He was everywhere. He literally was everywhere. Every tackle, every rock. That was his best game for us by a mile.
Yeah,
I know Augustus was immense and he got man of the match rightfully, but it would have been close for me. But
I don't know. You know, they're both good. Gus was great. 2 tries, etc. Real powerhouse. But I mean, there's the chosen one was pretty special, wasn't he?
I knew he was going to.
I said usually I talk about it. I go with my mum and usually we talk about it before. I said it's got to be Pollock surely, and then it wasn't, and I was like, all right. Like you said, Augustus wasn't bad, but I thought Pollock was head and shoulders for me. Felt like head and shoulders above everybody else. I mean, it was just a really good, much better performance than I was expecting. Because of the week before where we were atrocious, and also we'd played in almost like storm-like conditions against Coventry, and we didn't seem to have a single idea what we were doing. It's like we'd never played in rain before, and then obviously when we knew a storm was coming, I thought, I hope we don't play like we did against Coventry, because I mean, at this point, I thought a decent-ish Castres side would turn up. They obviously didn't, but I remember seeing the storm and thinking we can't play like we did against Coventry because we got lucky there that day. Just the fact that we were a Premiership side kind of gave us the slight edge. But I thought we'll lose against another team if we play like that, and yet somehow we seem to deal with the conditions superbly and also play the way that we play, which in theory you shouldn't be able to do in conditions like that. I was not expecting. I mean, I can't remember what all of our score predictions were, but I think that was before we knew this storm was coming, to be fair.
Yeah.
And so I remember the storm. I was like, this is just going to be a very low scoring, tight game. No one's going to be able to keep hold of it. No one's going to be able to kick it. So to actually put 38 points on the pitch, I think is actually a really, really great feat. I mean, every time Mitchell box kicked, I was like, what are you doing? It's going to go backwards. You know it's going to go backwards. Like he gave it 2 goes and I was like, stop. And then the next couple, the next couple, he seemed to be all right. He obviously walloped it a little bit harder the next couple of times, but there was a good couple of times where it literally just went backwards. I was like, this isn't going to work.
There's madness. Now, you got to remember we were playing on a pitch as well. Coventry was artificial, wasn't it? And Coventry actually wanted to play rugby. You literally just wasted a few grand flying over here. They may as well just stayed at home and forfeited.
I mean, I did say they don't. Notoriously, they do not travel well. Like they just do not do well away from home in a different country. And that was like the absolute definition of it as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, airport. They didn't pick the team. They were awful. I reckon we would have given Saints a better game.
They definitely didn't show up. I think the thing is the difference between looking back at that Coventry game, like you said, both really similar conditions, was the rugby IQ on the pitch, and that's not to discredit the people who played in that Coventry game, but any team, if you add Mitchell, Finn, and Dingers into that sort of mind, that controlling of the side, like you said, Mitchell put a couple up there. They ended up going backwards. He caught one of his own balls.
He did.
He caught one of his own box kicks. But the next after that, he suddenly changed the trajectory, got much lower. Yes, it was holding up a bit, but it was getting a bit more the distance that he needed.
Yeah.
Sort of fit to compete wasn't really an option. Although one was amazing, and I think Ram managed to catch it over his head.
Yeah.
I gotta say that's someone else was going to pick up as having.
Yeah, Rambo.
Just to be that reliable under a high ball in that weather is just ridiculous anyway. Like you would expect the best people under the high ball to struggle with that, and it was like the wind and the rain didn't exist. I thought it was absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, the kicking game for them wasn't necessarily the best, whatever. But the only word to describe Ram's, at the back was impeccable.
Yeah,
like he was just faultless, phenomenal. Like. Before the game, obviously, we picked the sides and everything. And then, when we saw it, I thought, interesting, Big Trev, Pearson, Furbank not in the starting lineup. But then when you think about it, if you were to pick one man you want to be at the back in those conditions, in that squad, it's Ram, isn't it? And whether it was resting, because of the injury, being away with England, and they've got to get some rest, some of those boys, might have been an opportunity. But it might also just been Ram was the right man for the job. He was.
Yeah,
he was amazing.
I also thought as well, like I think Finn Smith missed one off of the tee. I was like, he should have missed them all. Anybody should have missed them all. Like that wind was ridiculous. Like his kicking game was absolutely bang on when it came to getting his conversions. I just thought everybody played really well in what is it, 55-mile-an-hour winds, I think, when it got. To its, like you said, to be able to catch all those balls and make all but one of your kicks at goal, just ridiculous. It was like the direct opposite of last week, in terms of nobody was on it last week and everybody was on it this week. But that's kind of the frustrating thing that we've talked about with Saints this season, and sometimes a little bit last season. There would just be times where we just don't show up randomly, and there doesn't seem to be any particular reason for it. But luckily, that wasn't the case this week. So obviously, I know we're going to come onto it later that balls away in South Africa is hard for multiple reasons. So it was imperative that we got the maximum points out of that for that game.
It must be weird though, playing a team that didn't want to play rugby. It was like I'm not trying to disrespect Castres, but they literally were not there. They didn't even bother. The only thing they did show up a little bit was in the scrum.
That's what I was going to say. I was going to say the scrum was our. Again, it's a bit of a weakness.
But they didn't push us back very often. But it just the size of their forwards, and they literally just their backs couldn't be asked. To be honest, it was weird. We're sat in that freezing cold, hopefully for a good rugby match. We saw Saints play well, but my God, I've never seen a French team play so rubbish away from home. I know they say they don't travel, but they just didn't bother, and I don't blame them because I've played in bad conditions when I played back in the day, not professionally, obviously, but I can't imagine playing in that wind straight in your face. That rain was literally straight at them, wasn't it? Awful.
Yeah, I think the mindset was just everything. The difference between the two was just chalk and cheese. You think like that the Timo try, it was basically just a pass, and it was their tight head just waved him through. He barely made put a tackle in. Timo just smashed through. Try, thank you very much. And then, they went down the other end, got that I know before the Timo try, after the Dingers try, we started really well. Really, they didn't look up. We just walked up the pitch, got the tap. Dingers scored the try, etc. But then afterwards, they won that penalty. But if you remember, we got that quick. Finns took the restart quickly. He rushed back to the centre.
That was so fun. And
caught them out. Because they were just wandering back, milling around. They weren't engaged in the game. Whereas Saints were really on it. They were recognising those sort of lapses in concentration, or those sort of errors from the same with the I think it was the first Gus try. Pollock gets the turnover at the breakdown from the little chip through from Finn. We get the penalty. They probably assume we're going to take the 3 points or go to the corner, and they're just sort of sauntering around, not scratching their arse, not really paying attention. Freeman, bang, pass out to Gus, try. Like they just what a pass that was, by the way, from the centre of circle out to the touchline, phenomenal.
To check for forward because of the wind. It literally caught it.
Yeah. It's almost like they didn't understand. Not that we do that very often. We don't take restarts that quickly very often, but typically speaking, we're a fast-moving side. I don't know what it was that they were expecting. It was like they weren't prepared for that. It was a bit bizarre. Like you said, some of the things like that quick kickoff, like we don't do them very often, but typically speaking, we want to play and we want to play fast. You'd think that there'd be a part of them that would be prepared for. But I don't know. Maybe it was just them not traveling well, and the weather maybe got them thinking that we were going to play differently. To be honest, I kind of expected that we were going to play differently, but that's why I was so impressed that we actually just stuck to our game plan and it somehow worked in those conditions. But yeah, it didn't feel like they were prepared for the team that we are, the team that we were. It was bizarre.
You just mentioned the man there. I was going to say we didn't speak about other players. Tommy Freeman, you could just see the club. You could tell with him back in the side, he was everywhere as well. Absolutely.
It's the same with Finn. We talked about him going off 2 minutes into the Gloucester game, and Hendy going off and having to. I know that all those guys have played in multiple different roles before, but it's still making those changes that quickly and having to throw people in that weren't expecting it in positions they weren't expecting. That it did have an effect, and to have him back, to have him on form, because he was just on form. I think I've maybe seen 1 or 2 games where he's not quite been on form. Otherwise, he's very consistent, Finn, and it just unlocks something, doesn't it, in those backs, having him there.
Yeah, he's just a class operator. Like you said, he just gets the best out of the back line. He gives them space, creates things, and he's thinking about the game constantly. His IQ in that role is just tremendous. Finn is just a class operator, and he creates that space outside him, etc. But you said how we don't often go with those quick kicks like he did, etc. It's because you don't get the opportunity to do that. Though most teams are right. Scored the points. Next job. Back for the restart. Ready. They're not sauntering around. It was just a really strange, absent performance from Gus. But Finn is so class. He's constantly thinking, constantly looking up at what's in front of him. Goes, hang on, this is on. Boom, kicked it, and he was the first one there. He was straight after it. He that chip through, which led to the penalty, which led to the Gus try. That was Finn making things happen. I know no one played well against Gloucester, but you'd sort of think if Finn had stayed on the pitch, he's that class that he probably would have dragged us through.
Yeah,
that's not to criticise Verbs who stepped in at 10. It's just Finn's another level. He's a phenomenal operator.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's just we did say that they had to change their whole. You've trained all week him at 10, and then he goes off for 2 minutes. So you can just see when you don't have him there. The only thing I would say, I was a bit worried about Ollie because he didn't come back. I know he might not come back on because we'd already won the game, but he didn't come back on after his head check. So hopefully that's not another concussion.
fingers crossed, touch wood, that everything's good with him, because I mean the man's playing the best rugby of his life, isn't he? He's just
His teammates weren't very sympathetic though. When he come up back out the tunnel and sat on the bench, they're all tapping him on the back of the head, like saying, "Well played." It's like, don't be hitting him there. That's the last.
They do it so much. Every time I see someone doing it, I'm like, what? Are you like, someone will go down, but then it's like, oh, he's going off for a head check, and their teammates will slap on the head as they're walking off. I'm like, what is he doing? Like,
yeah,
oh,
no,
Lord.
we definitely need him to be fit and firing and healthy, obviously. But yeah.
Yeah.
Anyone have anything else to cover off in the Castres game? I mean, the tries were all brutal, really. They weren't the flowing. The game meant they were real tough, powerful, brute strength try. Other than that bit of magic from Freeman to that for Augustus, the rest was close to the line. That thing from the chosen one was just like happen.
I mean, he'd almost. I mean, that one that got chalked off, didn't he? He almost got.
Oh yeah. What did you think of that? Agree?
I think he's not. I think he's knocks it on. Yeah, I think he knocks it on twice actually in that build-up, from what I could see.
As he goes down, I called it while he was doing it. As he goes down, he transfers it from his right hand to his left hand as he goes over the line, even though he's sliding. So even though it's still part of his body, the ball has gone forward because he's rolled it into his other hand. Right. So it's harsh, but that's how I saw it. I was like,
I remember watching it back. I was like, no, they've called that right. Yeah, that's what I think personally. But
I haven't watched it back. Watching it live, I thought he scoops it with his right.
Yeah.
He puts it onto his left. He takes his right off.
Yeah, but it's when he's on the floor and it looked like there was no detachment. I know, but that's forward, isn't it?
No, if he's in control.
If he's on the floor, it's rolled on the floor because there's a separation between hands.
There's like 1 second where, as he's transferring it from one to the other, it's on the floor with no hands on it. So at that point, he has it was a very short time, but when they slow it down and you see it, but no, I think on balance, they've got that right.
It's because that's why.
Yeah, it was just
floor. Yeah, it's like if he was up in the air, it wouldn't have mattered because he wouldn't have dropped it. But because he was on the floor, it was forward. Unfortunately,
if there's separation, it's on the floor. It's not kind of like yeah.
I mean, it's one of the things that felt. One of the things that really did feel weird about Castres' performance, because we were really, really good, but we did drop it a fair few times, which is to be expected in that weather, with the ball being soaking wet and it being windy. We gave them plenty of opportunities, they just couldn't. It's not even to say they didn't capitalize on it, because to say that they didn't capitalize, it would suggest that they tried something that they just didn't. They said they were just completely absent. It was strange.
And to give sorry, come carry on. Sorry.
No, you go.
I was going to say to give him his due, even though we hadn't really seen him or heard of him. I know he didn't have much to do, but I thought the referee was pretty decent. Made all the right calls. The only thing that was annoying, if you have the ref link, he kept speaking in French to them with his Scottish accent, and it was just advantage. It's like, just say advantage. They know what the word is. And he's doing all of it like try, scrum, line out in French. I was like, you're in England, mate. I know that half of them are French.
Yeah, but I think that the difficulty they have, though, is that based on what I could hear, that their team in particular has because some of them have got like at least one or two decent English speakers. They did not seem to, based on the conversation you could hear over the ref mic. So at that point, he's
he kept calling the nine.
If he knows French, he knows French.
Oh, he did. I did, but it was just funny when it was Saints that knocked it on, or it was our advantage. He was saying advantage.
But I mean, I do always laugh at advantage because it just sounds the same as advantage. Like, you don't need to put the accent on it. Like, it's the same word, but like otherwise, yeah.
It was just funny because he was really Scottish.
Scottish, yeah.
With the Scottish accent, with the French words, it just sounded funny. That's not to anybody from Scotland, because I've got Scottish heritage, by the way.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of links between the French and the Scots. It goes all the way back to the Jacobites, but yeah. But
let's not.
I mean, I thought he was all right. I think it was very hot on offside. Sometimes they were hit and miss. Like he was very hot on that when maybe it wasn't the need for it. But he was. It's an easy game to ref, isn't it? When one's battered.
Yeah.
He didn't have to do much, but you didn't really notice him. Whereas the week before, I know we were poor, but we won't mention that ref. And we were all like, he was awful. Whereas this ref, you could have just not mentioned him and just passed it on because he just did his job.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay, yeah. I mean, it's good to get a win on the board, top of our group at least. We now go to Pretoria.
Yeah.
One hell of a away day. The Bulls actually came up this way of the world and lost in their opening round game. I can't remember who beat them. Who was it?
No, it wasn't Edinburgh, was it? No.
They lost quite convincingly to.
I mean, they did. They did, to be fair, because we played them, didn't we? Was it in the quarter-final last year? And they didn't send a.
No, Jake. That's what Jake White got absolutely pounded for, didn't he? Because he didn't send the team.
Yeah, but then he basically said, this is what it takes to get there, and he'd listed off how you have to split the team over multiple different. And I was like, you aren't going to send your first team for that. You just aren't. They got beat by Sarries.
Yeah,
27-5.
But they also sent a very strong team.
Oh, did they?
I don't really know that much about their team, but as to be honest, it feels like when you're coming that far, I know people say that the time difference it doesn't exist. I think it's like an hour, whatever way, but it's still a long way to fly. I don't know what the situation was this time, if they were able to charter a flight or if they had to go through multiple and people going to different airports. But even still, it's a long journey. It will take you out. It will take it out of you. It's why people are talking about having them in the competition. It's like the same for us, right? So I have got no idea. We're obviously going to talk about what our team predictions are going to be. I've honestly got absolutely no idea what we're going to do. Genuinely, I honestly don't know. But having to fly there, by the time you've flown there, and like you said, it's at altitude. It's at the Bulls' home. It's going to be very, very difficult. But it seems to be the thing. Teams go there, they lose. They come here, they lose. We beat them really convincingly, did we not, when we played them in the knockout rounds last year?
Absolutely.
And yes, the team they sent was definitely very different, but it's just they can't compete when they come here, it seems, and teams can't always necessarily compete when they go there. So it's almost like the games just become completely negligible, which is an annoying though, isn't it? Because you lose one game and it can have a massive impact on the table.
They should have left the South Hemisphere League. That's the problem. They should never have left it.
Well, yeah, I mean, it had problems, didn't it? It got completely screwed up, didn't it, during COVID?
Yeah.
All of the leagues from the three from Oz, South Africa, New Zealand, or some of them struggled.
It became a money and a time zone thing, didn't it? But the thing is, Toulon went down to Cape Town and won. So I think they're sort of finding their feet and they're becoming a bit more competitive. I mean, I expect it to be an incredibly hard game, and I honestly expect Saints are going to go full strength. I think what an opportunity to go down, challenge yourself in one of the in Loftusfeld, etc., one of the greatest grounds in the world, wearing a Saints shirt against one of the biggest teams in world rugby. What an experience! I think from listening to Douse and what their plans are is they fly out tonight. They get their light training session Tuesday. Wednesday they're doing a bit of safari, having a great team session, and they've got a barbecue with burger and Al on the grill. I think a bit of a bray. Thursday training, Friday light set training, and then Saturday, what an opportunity to go and play at one of the great grounds in world rugby. And I suspect they'll go full go, proper strength.
Oh yeah, I don't see any other reason to have rested some of the people that we rested for the Castres game other than they are going. I mean, obviously full strength is still predicated on who is available. Obviously, if Ollie does have a concussion, Hendy's also still making his way back through the protocol, so there are still question marks over who's going to be fit. But yes, I would assume that they would go as strong as possible.
Yeah, I mean, you got to think that, last year, the turnaround in our season was very much that European game away at Glasgow. And that was, and I know, Jess, you saw it in his in the how they won the Premiership evening that they did. They made the decision to treat Europe as a real opportunity to create moments, create experiences, have good away days as a club, great nights out as a as a group.
Yeah.
This is like trip away on holiday with some of your best mates playing rugby in the one of the greatest. It's like dreams are made of that experience, aren't they? Like I know the debate around the South African teams in competition, but as a player, I imagine it adds an amazing element. Going to Loftus Veldt wearing a Saint shirt, like that's never been a thing.
Oh yeah, no doubt. But then it's also just a thing of if you don't win, and that becomes the game that prevents you from making it further or makes it harder in the rounds afterwards. There's still going to be a bit of an element of you that's like, yeah, it was a great holiday, but like, Europe's definitely a target for them this year, right? Getting to the semi-finals last year. I mean, I saw the results with Leinster and Toulouse over the weekend, and I think we're all still absolutely screwed when it comes to either of those two teams. But I think they're still going to really target it this year. So, and that's why I do agree. I think they're going to go full strength. But just, yeah, it certainly will be annoying if you go full strength, you don't win, and then that's the game that means that, you pull a team you don't want at like the first of the knockout stages, and you're just a bit like, oh, for goodness sake, like, why has that happened? But yeah, no doubt that in terms of like team camaraderie and things like that, it's going to be, incredible. Like I said, if they can come away with a win, then it really sets us in a really good stead for, at the very least, the pool stages and getting top of that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it sets a good step for the season as a whole.
Yeah.
Getting that win at that point could really just give this team the confirmation to themselves that they can go again. There's still this. I felt it really. I was sat there, watching the game on Saturday night, and it's the first time it's really sort of I really felt it, but it felt so strange. Big European tie, no Courtney Laws. Like it just, I don't know. He's just been an epitome of those fixtures for so long, and I have, Premiership matches. I haven't really felt that sort of thing. But in that match, it just seemed to sort of feel strange that he wasn't there. But the fact that they must think something similar, and it's a new team and a new vision that they've got. They probably need that big result, to just confirm to themselves that they can go again. They can reach the highs that they made before. They might not happen this season, but at some point that's going to happen. I said, last season away at Glasgow was the real turning point. This could be a turning point that lasts not just this season but beyond, I think.
Yeah.
You're not worried about Sarries the week after though. It's Sarries away. Like it's the game that it's one of the biggest games. I know it's Sarries, isn't it? So it's like I know what you're saying. It's an amazing experience, but if they've got any doubt they're not going to win, I don't know why you would send the full strength squad because you've got to go.
Maybe
Sarries.
Well, that's the thing. Maybe they don't have the doubt. Maybe there is confidence there. And also, like you said, there's still enough time when they come back, right? Assuming that they're going to be flying back. What? Most likely the next day.
Probably Sunday. I don't know. Yeah, probably Sunday.
Yeah, most likely Sunday, right? So there's enough time for them to. And like you said, it's not. There's no time difference, jet lag style stuff that you kind of have to deal with. It's just the flight, isn't it? Like, I've sometimes when I fly for 2 hours, I'm like, I want to go to bed. So I can't imagine what it's like for flying. I mean, I've been to South Africa, and so I've done that flight, and it's long. Assuming that they can probably get over that within. I mean, normally Monday is just, I don't know how much training they do on Mondays. It always struck me as the kind of review day. So, Monday usually is, I think they'll be okay in terms of coming back. Because obviously, like, if you pick up any injuries, but like that's a worry no matter who you play where. That wouldn't make any difference whether you were home or away. So yeah, I'm assuming that resting Ferbs. I'm assuming we've rested because he wasn't on the unavailable list. So I'm assuming it's just he played for England, he then came back and played Gloucester. So it's like resting him. Like for me, the fact they rested him for Castres suggests to me that he is on that flight.
Yeah, you got to think everyone is on that flight. Could you imagine telling one of them that they're not on that flight?
Yeah. To be fair, you'd take the whole squad, wouldn't you? Just for the chat, just for the
yeah, exactly, yeah.
Anyone who's a contender for a position, you think's got to be going because just imagine being sat at home watching it on your phone on Premier Sports. Like or via Amazon, whatever. Like, I just think
Yeah.
it's too. You create such an issue in the squad if we decided.
Yeah. I mean, at the least, it's going to be a hell of a workout. Like doing that at altitude, like, whew, you know, it's going to be a hell of a day in terms of. And I'm assuming that they'll do some light altitude training on the, the Thursday, Friday, or whatever it is. I'm assuming, but yeah, I mean they're fit, right? I don't think anyone doubts the fitness of the backs, but whew,
It's another level.
I wouldn't want to do it.
Level.
Exactly, yeah.
I don't think they wouldn't have chance to potentially acclimatise in time.
Oh yeah, no, not like not fully.
They might just train and then do everything at sea level, and then fly up
Day on field.
game. Yeah, or I don't know. I'm sure they'll get it right, but it'll be a learning.
Oh yeah, no doubt about that. Yeah.
I bet they're
You are mentioning the players though. You got to think of the fans. Like, that's the only thing I think is a bit rubbish about having them in this competition, because I got a couple of mates that used to do it. I used to do it. I didn't miss one game. I would go home, away, whatever day, wherever it was. But this is sort of like another level, another cost. It's so close to Christmas. How many Saints fans can afford to go to South Africa to watch a game for a Saturday?
And I think that the issue that you also get is like, and a lot of South African fans have been pretty open and honest about it. They don't care about it as a competition. Like you look at it on television, it's empty stadiums. Like you've got probably as many away fans as you do home, because they just don't. They're not in. I don't know if maybe that'd be different this year. Maybe there's a bit of an increase in, but I watched it on telly last year, and it's very noticeable that people aren't attending. And like I said, a lot of them have been open and honest about, like, we don't see it as a competition that we're interested in. It's in Europe. Like when it comes to knockout stages, they're not allowed to play in South Africa. They have to play in Europe. So you're cutting so many fans out of the ability to get involved in those experiences that at some point, and don't get me wrong, I get it's about, first and foremost, it's about the rugby, but at the end of the day, for it to survive, you need people going, you need people invested and interested in it. And it just, they're not interested in it, and I'm not interested in it really. I mean, like, obviously I'll watch it, it's Saints, but I don't get loads of excitement because there are South African teams in it. I heard it was happening and I was just like, why? It's like when they tell you that Australia's in Eurovision. Why?
Exactly.
Why? It doesn't make.
It is just not remotely.
It's just, I'm just like,
teams. I mean, look, the European Champions Cup is not the same as Australia in a song contest.
But
it's still the same thing of like, what's the rationale? Neither of them are in Europe. Like it just, like I said, it will be about money and all that kind of stuff. But like, how much is it actually helping South African clubs when, like I said, they can't sell it out because nobody's interested? I mean, we even struggled at the weekend. It's probably largely down to the storm.
Yeah, that was the way.
I mean, God, it was. I mean, people made a great. People did a really good job of making a lot of noise, but there are a lot of empty seats.
But it was.
And I should imagine
it was a poor game. So the crowd. We were and you're not going to get the crowd because they don't need you.
No,
absolutely walking it. So it's sort of that. You don't need the fans really, but I don't mean. And everyone was probably just cuddled up trying to keep warm. It was cold.
I think one thing with the fans with the South African teams is, so when you look at the numbers, they're not too dissimilar to European teams. It's just they're playing in international standard stadiums. So, they might get 10, 15,000 fans, but they're in 50, 60,000.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah, it's a bit
empty.
It's like when you see, I used to go to the away games with like Wasps at the Rico.
Yeah.
And you're just like, or like you watch Bristol on telly, you watch Bristol and you're like.
Yeah. Wasps used to give out thousands of tickets to kids just to try and fill it up because of Rico.
Just to try and fill it up, yeah. And I remember when I went 2 years in a row to the Rico and there were more of us.
Yeah. It's because it's just up the road, isn't it? It's easier.
Yeah. I think it's actually easier for us to get there than original Wasps fans, funnily enough.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's just, that's all I meant. Yeah. I just meant they haven't thought about the fans because a lot of fans can't afford, especially at Christmas. How much is a flight to South Africa? It's got to be 500.
No. It's got to be more. Yeah.
So easily.
They haven't given two poops about the fans, and it's just a bit.
And
like
then
I said,
you've also
I used to do every single game, and this one, there's no way I could go.
Yeah.
So if I had stopped a few years ago, my record would be stopped now because I can't go to that fixture.
I mean, it's like I've seen how much because like I'm going to the game in Paris in Jan, and like even just the cost of that is like just about able for me to do. I was like, we weren't even considering. And like the thing is, when you go, it said because the flight is so long as well, like you can't just go to South Africa one day and come back the next unless you've lost your mind. Like you have to stay for a few days just because of, just like, and I mean, some people probably will. Some people probably will fly down and they'll probably come straight back because they're crazy. But like for most people, it's just not doable. Like, and so then you've got to pay for at least a couple of nights. So I don't know about the prices of things in South Africa. I should imagine that actually within South Africa, I think it's not too bad. Like within the country itself, I think it's not too bad. But even just like I said, it's the flight. It's like the flight there and back. It will price anybody, but like rich retirees maybe, or people that have really saved for it for whatever reason. Like
you do wonder why. Saints used to do this all the time. Why, if they're chartering a flight to go to South Africa, why they didn't do a trip? Because that would have brought the price right down. The plane's going anyway.
Yeah, then I don't think they are chartering. I think they're just all in business class. But the thing is though, I agree fully. Like you can't go to South Africa for like I went to the Croke Park game for the day, 4 a.m. to 4 a.m. Yeah, I'm going to Paris like the same as you. going on the Saturday, coming back on the Sunday, right? You can't do that for South Africa. You've got to go for a week. And if you go in South Africa for a week, yes, it's 10-1 in the round, right? It's so much cheaper. It's amazing country. But you go in there and you're going to do safaris. You're going to eat well. You're going to have a holiday.
Exactly.
Couple of weeks before Christmas. Like you said, Simon.
Yeah. I mean,
I agree.
We're not even
not thought of the fans, but from a perspective, it's amazing.
And we're not doing that for Paris either. Like, I know you said you're going down on the Saturday, come back on the Sunday. We're going on the Friday, coming back on the Monday.
Yeah.
So we can make, because like, there are some places like for me, I've only ever been to Paris for Disney. I've never been to Paris to see things in Paris, right? So it's like the opportunity for us to, and like we've done the same whenever we've been to, when we went to because we were at the Glasgow game in this, every single game, we always end up going to the ones in horrendous conditions, Glasgow, Coventry. like why does this happen? But like we went there and we stayed for a few nights. We did the same when we were in Dublin. Like, but like I said, for South Africa, you can't really stay just for a couple of days because you're still going to be properly tired 4 days later.
Exactly. It's just that's what I mean. That's the one bit I know they've got to do it, but it just does take the mick out of the fans because there's not many fans that could go to that, and I would love to. God, like Charles just said,
it'd be amazing. And like I said, I've been on holiday before. Like, yeah,
iconic stadiums, like the people, some of the legends, and they're like Leinster in a way, aren't they? They're like a huge franchise with most of the South African side. It's just a huge place, and South Africa, but you can't do it. It's not like you can just jump on a coach and get there. So you
can't get one of the SSC coaches and just pop down the road. Like, it's just too.
Get your membership.
Yeah.
Get a discount on the coach. Yeah.
Yeah.
What if you got a fear of flying? Do you know what I mean? That's not a thing. I'll bring my mate into it. He goes to all the games, but he doesn't fly. So if we go Italy, he'll go on a train or a bus.
See, we fly, like we flew to Scotland, we flew to Ireland, but I detest flying. So when it came to Paris, I was like, should we just do the Eurostar? It's like a different experience. And luckily Mum was like, yeah, that sounds great. I was like, thank God. Just one chance to not have to fly. Like just rock up to St Pancras and just get on a train.
I don't like flying. I really am scared, petrified of heights, and it leads me into flying. I don't like flying. I just have to do it. It's with work and with traveling, you can't. It's too restrictive. I just sit there and fear. But the thing, and I've done South Africa, and it's an amazing country, and I've never done rugby there. It would be an amazing experience, but it's too much to ask of a fan, right? And
it's like if you were going to do it, you would do it for like the Lions tour that's there. You'd figure out what year that is, and you have plenty of time to save and plan, and it's in the summer usually, right? But it's this being like just before Christmas, like. Even if it wasn't just before Christmas, I wouldn't be going anyway. But definitely just before Christmas. And the fact I've already got Paris, I was like, I can only do one or the other, and I'm obviously going to go for the one that's actually remotely affordable.
Yeah, and that's the thing with the history of the European Cup, the Heineken Cup, whatever you want to call it, what it was. It was all about those amazing European away days. Playing, get to Italy or.
That's what I mean. I want Italy back. I'm literally dying to go to Rome. It's the top of my list of places I want to go. Give us the Italians back.
Charles is back on. Honestly, I'm not dissing our league. The best rugby trips I've ever, because like I said, I did all of them. I've done nearly every French side. The best away days are in the French, in France, in Italy. Some of them French games I'll never forget because the French fans are just mental. And even if they lose, it's got a buy beer, and then you just get drunk with them. It's brilliant.
I didn't enjoy going to La Rochelle in -10, losing by 50 points. I'll take not doing that again. But I remember like before that, our last win was against Lyon, wasn't it, in 2020? 2020? Yeah, 2020. And I was there for that one, and that was incredible because we were sat in right in the corner where Ferb scored right at the end to win the game. It was like it's amazing. But yeah, I'm waiting for the Italian sides. I'm waiting for the Italian sides to get better so that I can go to Italy.
It's just the beauty of the Heineken Cup, like going away to to Biarritz, to wherever.
It's also why I do like the thing of not playing people in your
country,
in your particular competition, because you get that. I think the way that they've done it, the way they set it up with these massive pools and the way they've done it is ridiculous. I think it's nonsensical. But the only bit I do actually like is you don't play people from your own league, because then it means your away things are, for quite a lot of people will be new experiences. I think otherwise the way they've set it up is bizarre. Two massive humongous pools, like just do what everyone else does and split it into some nice smaller pools. But I do definitely like the fact that you don't play who's in your own league, just because I don't want to go to Exeter or Saracens. I've done it. I want to go.
They have changed that now.
Yeah,
it's not two big pools anymore. It's multiple pools.
Yeah, multiple pools now. Yeah.
But then there's like
that was weird for a couple of years.
Yeah, that was weird. And
you'd get into the knockout stages having won one game out of like 4 or something, and I was like, you shouldn't be in the knockout stage.
Yeah, there's now 4 pools of 6.
Of 6, yeah. Yeah, right, it's much better.
You don't play the other team in that pool that's in your country. Yep. So Saracens are in our group, but we don't.
They are in ours, yes.
Yeah. So
like I said, they had balls, didn't they? Now we've got balls, so.
Yeah, I mean, rugby has a lot to answer for administration.
So it's just we've got balls and they haven't.
Yeah. Hopefully that's the case in a couple of weeks, but
I totally. That's what I mean. They haven't really thought of the fans, and that's the thing that keeps the game going. And like I said, the best trips I've ever done have been in. One of the best ones you mentioned, Italy, was when we had Treviso, and it snowed the night before, and they literally had to plough about 12 inches of snow off the pitch, and they weren't going to let us in. But that was and we nearly lost. It was mental.
So, crazy. Yeah. But like you said, like the concept of seeing, like you're like Saints playing at Loftus against the ball, and you're almost. It's such an amazing occasion for the club. It's historic for the club, yet it's virtually impossible to really be, realistically travel and watch them do that. To take.
And also, like you said, the team are going to have an amazing experience during that week. I totally agree with that. Like, what is it going to feel like? Yes, they're going to have a really great occasion in an amazing stadium, but like with a very small number of fan support, what's it actually going to feel like on the day? Of like not really having, I'm sure I have no doubt people will be there because I've seen people post about.
Yeah, I know a couple of people going.
But I also know that like one of the key things the players talked about, after COVID, was how horrible it is playing with. And I know obviously with no crowd is very different still to like a minimal crowd, but you just aren't going to be able to, whereas like some of the away games that we've got, like I think there's quite a few people that are going to Paris. Loads of people went to Dublin, for example. Like you can still hear the support, so it'll be interesting what that might be like from their perspective in terms of support. I hope that whoever goes is as loud as they possibly can be. I've got no doubt that they will. But I just feel like the experience will be great, but I wonder what it will feel like for the like 80 minutes on the pitch.
Yeah.
Of like not necessarily being able to hear. It's like you said, they keep trying to think bigger picture, but I think rugby's problem at the moment is they're so focused on bigger picture that they're forgetting about, the everyday people that watch it kind of week in, week out, and what it is that they're looking for at the end of the day. Like, are you going to attract people? Are you going to attract people in to be fans of English clubs because they're playing in South Africa when they're all going to know that they couldn't go to watch it themselves? Probably not.
Yeah, exactly. And you had to the point where they've sold another, the deal to another broadcaster,
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, at the very least, you're having to pay out another. Yes, you could go to the
Yeah.
pub possibly, or whatever. Maybe the club should be doing better at putting it on in the ground. I haven't seen anything advertised, etc. But that's another tenner a month for your average fan to go watch all
I mean,
this.
I must admit the only difficulty they had there is I believe that TNT did not put a bid in,
Mm.
or they pulled out or something. So there was only so much they could do there. I think TNT decided not to go for it because they'd gotten the autumn internationals instead, and that's what they wanted. So they didn't go for it. So because normally I'm one of the first people to place the blame at these kind of governing bodies. I think are doing absolutely shocking jobs. But in that point, there's not really a lot you can do when the Prem broadcaster is not interested.
They've got themselves into that position where they can't sell the rights, and
Yeah.
the South African, the thing is, I get the point. Their grounds are, they're not selling them out. They're getting 10, 15,000 and 50,000 seats, right? And that's an issue. But that's an issue for the South African to get domestic fans in. But it's the same issue that exists in Premiership and English and rugby, is that there isn't that interest at the domestic level, and that should be the priority for the governing bodies, to get people in at that level. Not that you can sell Twickenham out 10 times over, but which they seem to be struggling a bit to do actually now. But
the price the fans out, mate, at Twickenham.
Yeah, the price. Yeah.
Half the people, last time I went, God, it was about 5-6 years ago, and the people sitting around me didn't have a clue what was going on. They were just there because they've got, I've got tickets for England versus New Zealand. They had no idea what was happening on the pitch. They'd just gone there for the Twickenham thing, and that's the problem.
Because obviously we're obviously in like the unique perspective, the great thing of we got to go for a Premiership final, right, with our team in it. Yeah. The difference of how that felt, like that was actual rugby fans in Twickenham for Northampton and Bath. And I went to an England one last year. I think it was England versus New Zealand, and it was probably one of the worst experiences in a rugby stadium I ever had, because they literally we were sat, like I said, in an area where it was obviously corporate all around us. So they didn't give a crap about just getting up and walking past you 10 times in a half, because they haven't had to pay for it. They don't really care. They're probably not necessarily interested in the sport that much, but it's a day out in London, and like that seems to be where it's heading, at least for the kind of international games. And I seem to see a lot of people, some people are still enjoying it. I'm not saying that they're not, but there is a lot more people that are coming out like it's not a great place to be currently for like international fixtures with England.
To be honest, I was at that All Black game as well, and I agree. Like really awful. The fans were abysmal, booing them.
It doesn't help that England are playing pants either.
Yeah, but it was just an uneducated crowd that were there for a day out and didn't care. However, I would say I went to the Wallabies game this year, and obviously the result went my way, etc. But that was one of the best games of rugby you could possibly imagine. I know it didn't go your way, right, but it was a phenomenal fixture, the way it went backwards and forwards. And the atmosphere was amazing, and the fans that were fantastic. They were all rugby fans from different clubs, having a great time, friendly, chatty, proper rugby people. So sometimes it's hit and miss. Maybe it's either shifted, maybe it shifted back to the true fans are now interested, or
I hope so.
Different fixture attracts different people, or where you sit depends.
What you said a second ago, though, you don't think I heard you. You said they booed the haka, didn't you? Was that what you were going to say?
I didn't say that.
No.
Okay.
No, they booed our own team, didn't they?
Yeah, but they booed the haka. I watched France versus New Zealand, and it was like you could hear a pin drop, and it just made the atmosphere amazing because the French were just stood there, and it was just a spectacle. Like, why would you boo the haka?
I don't mind.
That was one of the big iconic things when I went to watch England New Zealand. I'm a true Englishman, always will be, but I went there to watch New Zealand. I'm not going to lie, because to see New Zealand rugby live, England got beat. I was gutted, but I knew it was going to happen. This was a few years ago. But to see New Zealand play rugby and to see the haka live, it just give me hairs on my. And then all the fans singing Sweet Chariot.
See, I don't like Swing Low Sweet Chariot just because of the connotations of the song. Yeah. And you've even had members of the England team who are very much like, we'd much rather you didn't sing it. But nobody seems to give a crap what they seem to say. But I think it was Mara Toji who was very much like, this is a slavery song, please don't sing it, and everyone just seems to forget about that. I don't have a problem with them singing the anthem over the hacker. At the end of the day, it's like a war cry, right? So I don't think a reaction is bad, but yeah, why would I? But I don't like the booing.
Not
But
sure.
it's like,
You could do
but
something.
I liked when we played them in this series just gone, and the England team decided to just say screw it to the regulations and just got like within this distance of them, because
Yeah.
they were like, you know what, we'll take the fine, which I still think is ridiculous anyway, because I think you've even had New Zealand players who are like, you're supposed to react, it's a war cry, you're supposed to react.
I don't think the Kiwis always necessarily know about it, because if you think back to the '05 Lions series when Clive Woodward took it,
I was 10.
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah, but he obviously was detail. Every last thing was double checked, treble checked, and he got an expert in on it. And he got a Maori elder to come in and educate the squad on the hacker and what it meant, and teach them how to respond to it correctly, right? So if you watch back at videos, right, and the line team, the first, I mean, this is like, I'm getting, my hairs are sticking up on the back of my neck. I'm getting goosebumps thinking about it. It was so amazing that they spread across the field in like an arch, and Driscoll was in the middle of the pitch, and they just stared at the hacker, and at the end, Driscoll picked up a blade of grass and threw it in the air, right? And Simon said, you could hear nothing. It was just like pure drama. But the All Blacks have readily accepted they didn't know that was the right way to receive it. It fired them up so much to the point when Tagu Marga absolutely destroyed O'Driscoll in that breakdown, and tipped him on his shoulder a minute into the game. He was just so furious at this response.
Well, I don't know if it's a bit different. I don't know if maybe it's different now though, because there were some interviews, weren't there, before the game of we expect a reaction. Like they were I think they were looking for one, and you could tell the kind of the atmosphere and the vibe when England didn't do anything special. They just got closer than they were told that they were allowed to get. Right, they got right up in there. They didn't do anything else. And I think the All Blacks responded to that, and I think they seem to enjoy that and kind of like that aspect of it. So I don't know if they themselves are a bit maybe better educated with the current squad or team. I honestly don't know. But I always used to think it was weird of you get fined if you get within 20 feet or something or whatever, and you literally did have some New Zealand players that were like, that's not the point of it. The point of it isn't to stand miles and miles away from where it's happening. You're supposed to be like this, as in you're about to go to battle with one another. You're supposed to act like you're about to go into battle with one another. So I'm glad that whoever it was that took the initiative, I think it was Jamie George, took the initiative of we're going to move up.
Yeah, it does depend which one they do though. There are different variants.
Yeah, they've got different ones.
Proper where they do that, which means they're going to kill.
Yeah, they're going to kill you. Yeah.
It's one of them. I think it was Gatlin, wasn't it? Didn't he ban it at Wales? And they had to do it in the dressing room. Am I misinformed? I think he had to do it. One of the games against Wales, they wouldn't let them do it, and they had to do the hacker in the. I swear they did, and that's just massively disrespectful. He got absolutely pelted.
Might be during the time when he was at Ireland. I can't remember.
Maybe.
I can't remember that. I mean, some of the reactions, especially the French teams, when they're proper, when Chabal got it all the way up, and is it Phil Greening back in the day when he was just stalling up on his own, getting him up.
That's what he's for.
It's one of the greatest spectacles in rugby union. And
it is.
Yeah.
But let's. This is a complete.
Yeah, we need to end on back to the balls and the team and the prediction.
Back to the ball prediction, because we've gone way far away from Northampton Saints. Northampton Saints to the South African teams in Europe to the hacker. I mean,
yeah.
Let's get on with some predictions. What are we thinking?
I'm gonna go.
I have absolutely no idea. I don't know.
I'm gonna go 32-22. Because I don't know if the boys are going to be acclimatised and they might run out of steam.
Ooh, okay. First time.
Yeah, I'm going to go.
That's to them, obviously.
I'm going to go for a win because I'm not a traitor.
I'm not a traitor.
But I do think it's going to be. I think I'm going to go with my heart, which says win. My head says it's going to be too difficult in those conditions But I'm going to go for a win anyway because obviously. I'm going to go 28-25. 25-28. I'm just going to put the hat in the ring again for a Finn Smith drop goal right at the end because he loved doing them in Europe last year.
just stolen my my line there.
Ha!
Yeah, I sort of think the same. I'm going to go 19, 21.
I mean, yes, I don't know enough about the scores,
20.
really.
Actually, no,
I just know that we like to score tries, so I'm just going to go off the assumption that we're going to score 4, and they're going to score 4, and I hope we're going to win. But at the very least, if we can, I think it will be considered a good achievement if we bring something back.
Yeah, so I've just amended
of some kind. But yeah, I still think we'll win.
22, I'm going, but I'm going to go with a long distance at altitude drop goal from.
So basically, what I said.
Finn. Yeah, you're frozen.
Yeah, from old Finn.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with, like I said, I'm gonna go with Finn Smith, long range drop goal, halfway, long, proper at altitude.
I hope he listens. I hope he listens to this and he's going to practice them.
You call me a traitor. I'm not a traitor. I never want my team to, but it's supposed to be a well-balanced rugby thing, and we're all saying about how hard it's going to be at altitude. I travel and get a flight. You got to be realistic. You always say,
"Oh no, I still think it's going to be hard," but I also think I didn't know that they were going today. Like, I just assumed that they wouldn't necessarily have as much time, but the fact that they do makes me think that they've at least not the altitude bit, but I think they've got time to kind of get over the flight, as it were.
I thought they would have flown up yesterday. I thought literally just recover from, get a bit of physio after the match, go to the morning.
It's Sunday, man. It's Sunday roast day.
They could have one in South Africa. Oh man, you know what I mean?
I'm going. I agree with you. You know, it's got to be honest. I think, predicting a loss is a fair prediction. I just think that they're going to be so up for this fixture. They are an international. We have got international standard players. They'll have been planning this for so long, because I think this means more to us than it does to them. I think this can be the foundation of a phenomenal season if we go there and get a result. Whereas for them, it's who the hell are Northampton Saints? What, why are they? Yeah. It's a home game. We'll walk this. I just think we'll do a job on them.
I always back my team, but I just can't. It's the travel and that. I'm just being a realist. My heart says they're going to win, but being a realist, just being for the public listening. And actually, the whole point of what we do is the fact that I'm looking at the situation and thinking,
No, I
just
get
too much.
No,
traitor.
No, you're not a traitor. I agree. I think throwing around the T words is a bit strong there, Jess. But I think I can see that this is going to be a phenomenally tough game. This is one of the biggest challenges in rugby. To go there to get a win, they don't come bigger. In the domestic game, there's probably not a bigger challenge potentially, other than some of the French teams, the Kiwi teams, etc. But I just think it might, like the Castres game, we wanted it more. I just think we're going to want this game more, and I think we'll get the tactics right and we'll do a job on them. Like we did Munster away last year, I think they've got the attitude from Europe spot on consistently, and I'm just backing to do that again, I think.
I think the closest this game will be to any game that I've ever been to is probably when we got absolutely battered at home by Leinster, and then we went to the Aviva. No one gave us a hope. Then we beat them. So
beat them.
That's the closest.
Yeah. Even I remember that. Yeah.
What that was as well.
Jamie Elliott went for the pitch.
Right in front of me as well. I literally scored in the corner. I was sat. It was brilliant. I was going off my head.
That's the thing, though, right? That was one of the greatest memories of recent time of European away trips in Europe. One of the greatest games, biggest occasions the club's been in, and you got to experience seeing Jamie go the distance, right? This is one of the biggest games this weekend in the club's history.
Yeah.
And how many fans are going to get to see
exactly.
it?
That's the point.
Discussed that enough, but the point is there, isn't it?
You're not going to be there.
I mean, we've said as well, we've been through who we think our strongest team is. So I think most people probably know who we.
Yeah.
Who we're going to go
for. Who we would have picked. I mean,
who we're going to pick.
Don't have time to go through it, but I don't think there'll be many changes other than the Pearson, Trevor, Verbs coming.
Exactly. Yeah. Cool.
Brilliant. Thanks everyone much for listening. My name's been Charles McGilvray. Jess has been Jess. Simon's been Simon. We'll see how we go this week.
Goodbye.
Bye.